Hello and welcome to the quick video to let you know that there is a new radio from RadioMaster released today. Not one of the big units with the screen and the touch interface and EdgeTX and all that goodness. This is the T8L. Now there's been quite a few radios like this coming out recently, and I suspect that these things are kind of created to go along with short range kind of bind and fly models, maybe manufacturers that are kind of putting in radios inside kits that have things like the goggles and quads as well. But actually this is also very handy for things like sim practice, flying your whoop and right around your house, using these things for kind of trainer practice as well. And this one is a little bit more grown up than some of the others that you may have seen in this form factor. So as it's just been released, I thought I'd give you an overview and let you know what I found. So while I unbox it, let me go through the main features of this thing. This is built-in Express LRS, as you would probably expect, 2.4 gig module. It's got single button press binding to any Express LRS receiver, so they've thought about that. Quad bearing Hall effect gimbals, which actually feel okay. They're a little bit smaller. I'll show you in more detail in a moment. 5-way trim buttons with LED and audio feedback. Lots of these little smaller radios have the trim buttons on there as well, which is handy if you're going to use it for things apart from basic whoops. USB-C port on the top for charging, firmware updates and sim use. Web UI support to configure everything. Obviously there isn't a screen on this, so you need to, if you want to change stuff, have a way of doing that. And the way that everyone seems to do it these days is you plug it into a computer and do it via a web page. All the kind of switches and controls that you would expect. Weighs about 204 grams. Simple LED based interface at the front for battery status, system status, and also if you're doing a calibration. You can connect it to your computer and use it for sims just like you would anything else over the USB cable. And the switch layout and how they're mapped to the individual channels is easy to change as well via that UI. Size 165 by 120 by 70 millimeters. Transmission power on this ranges from 10 milliwatts up to 100 milliwatts. Nicely though, it is powered by two 18650s. They're not included in the kit. You're going to have to get your hands on some. That's one of the big features with this that I really like. Lots of other radios in this kind of form factor have internal batteries that are charged by the USB port. And although that's fine for cheap and cheerful, just hobby, occasional flying, the ability to have a spare set of batteries at the field to be able to swap out if you're having a fun day is really important. The firmware in this is the T8L. I've actually already updated mine to the latest version because this has been a review unit that was shipped before the latest version came out. So I'll show you how to do that too. So let's go through all the controls on this new T8L radio. Now, looking at the top, let's go through the switches. So we have two 3-position switches here, SB and SC. We have the USB-C connection that's used to charge the batteries, also used to connect to things like a computer for simulator. I'll show you that in a minute, but also things like actually access all the settings in here so you can change all the configuration, how the bits and pieces are mapped, calibrate everything, update the firmware. We have one latching switch here that's momentary. SA is momentary as well. SE here at the back is latching, so that for most people will be the arming switch. There is a rotary control, no indent in it sadly. It's nice and stiff, so that potentially would be handy if you wanted some kind of sliding control. On the front, we have the system LEDs. They show you the battery status. It's one of those things where you kind of press and hold it. It'll kind of go to the full 4, you know, very DJI that everyone seems to do it these days. Give you a confirmation beep and you're away. Turn it off, press and hold it again. This is a multifunction button. If you press and hold this while you power it, it'll put it into the kind of mode you need to plug it into the web-based tool that I'll show you in a moment. Then we have trims here in the middle for all of the 4 main controls, and then we have the gimbals themselves. Gimbal size, let me grab something to measure it. These are actually, the carriages are about 25 millimeters across. So these are very much the smaller ones, but very comfortable in the hands. Nothing on the bottom, nothing on the back. Again, removing these grips will give you access to the 18650 batteries that are replaceable, a feature that I personally really like. In terms of how it fits in the hands for different styles of flying, this is really a thumber's radio. There's a reasonable bit of plastic around here at the sides, which means that as it fits in your hands, it's very much like a game controller. Your thumbs fit naturally on the top of the sticks, very easy to get into all the corners. Not full-size gimbals, but when you fly you don't really notice that, to be honest, and your fingers are kind of naturally on here to kind of get to these buttons. These 3-position switches, unless you have really long fingers, are not easy to get to. That's my only criticism here. It would be handier if the controls were almost the other way around. In terms of pinching, it still works like a lot of these radios do. You have to kind of put the bottom of the radio here kind of in the palm of your hand to hold it. Put your fingers underneath this grip. It's not a very pronounced protuberance here at the back, if that's even the right word. It kind of sits in your hand, but if you put your fingers under it like that to hold it, there's enough room to get onto the sticks, and you can get to the other controls with the other fingers. It's not as natural as thumber, which you just hold it like it's a PlayStation or Xbox or some of the game controller. It just feels incredibly natural. I do wish though that they would put these 3-position switches a little bit further so that you can get to them with your fingertips rather than that kind of slightly more round the corner way, because you almost have to cradle it in your hands rather than hold it naturally as you would do to get to all the pieces. In terms of how you connect to the radio, you power it on while pressing the multifunction button, and then you can go through all the settings. So here we have device information. So we have what each of the switches do, what the volume is it on, whether there's warnings for receiver loss, low power warnings, serial numbers in here. You got the Express LRS firmware version, all those bits. Actually, you'll see here that this was how it came to me. This is version 1.4 of the firmware. There has been an update since then. You can look at the channels, move the sticks around and see how they move on the screen. These gimbals are centering really nicely. And then left hand side, you have options for things like the channel settings. You can reverse them if you need to do that. Channel mapping is also in here as well. And then you also have the ability to link the individual switches to the auxiliary channels too. Trim and sub trim is available in here as well. And you can also tweak the mode if you wanted to, but that's going to have to potentially mean you get in and play with the sticks and the other pieces too. This is where we set the maximum power, enable the Wi-Fi, set your telemetry ratio, what the switch mode does. So this is really all of the bits and pieces for Express LRS. You have a calibration menu, and you also have a firmware menu as well. Now I have a firmware update file that I'm going to apply here. So we can see that we're just going to update the controller itself. Click on connect, accept the warnings, choose the firmware file that we want, which is 1.6, and then confirm the update. So keeping this thing up to date with the latest and greatest versions of stuff is pretty easy and straightforward too. Using the radio as a sim is really simple and straightforward. Just power it on, stick the USB cable in the top, and it'll appear in Windows automatically as a game controller. Most simulators will find it automatically, and you're away. So in summary, there are some big pluses for this compact, portable little radio over some of the other form factors that I've had in here from other vendors. Specifically, the removable 18650. You can just swap the batteries out the back, and they're not particularly tricky to get in and out. And you have the option to keep flying all day if you have a spare set in your bag. Do like the fact we also have trims here too. That's going to make it handy for smaller planes for park flying, but of course that maximum range of only 100 milliwatts and the internal antenna does mean that this is at maximum a park flying style radio. While we're talking about things to be aware of, let's cover that little list. You will need to supply the 18650 batteries yourself. They are the flat top style, so they should fit fine. The supplied sticks are not height adjustable from the playing that I've done here. It's probably relatively easy to get different versions, although these things actually feel really nice and they fit beautifully in the recesses on the back of the radio. I personally would potentially paint these things bright orange, because I guarantee you'll drop them when you're taking them in and out, and if you're stood on a patch of long grass when you do it, you'll never find them again. Neck strap balance is not great. It's a bit weighted thanks to the batteries, but to be honest, I'm not sure many pilots are going to use the neck strap with something like this. This feels like it is going to be held and used like a game controller for the vast majority of people, but it's there in case you want it. And the other big drawback is there isn't any case with this as well. I have looked at other cases on the channel. It's pretty catch free. Once you take the sticks out and pop them in the back, it'll stick in a backpack or in a large pocket without getting caught up. But I would probably find a little soft bag to keep it in, just to stop it getting scratched up as I'm moving about. Final thoughts. This is a great little backpack radio for closer in flying on 2.4 gig Express LRS. Perfect for those who prefer the game style radios and don't want the complexity of HTX. Lots of pilots don't. They find it overwhelming. They just want a radio that's going to work. This is also a nice option for sim use too. So if you have this, potentially you can use it to fly your whoops, but also keep it by the side of your PC or computer and use it for that as well. I suspect that this has been created so that RadioMaster can start to include and supply these kind of radios to third parties, so they can be included in some of those ready to fly bind and fly box kits that seem to be so popular. So I'm fully expecting that I'll bump into this radio again when I get a kit in, maybe sometime in the new year. So that's our whistle stop tour of the new RadioMaster T8L. Not probably a radio that you're going to want for long range flying, but a very cute compact radio with some more grown-up features over some of the other ones that are available for those who are looking to maybe do some park flying, fly your whoop over in winter, and maybe keep up that sim practice. Thank you for watching my video. Check out the playlist, and adding Painless 360 to your search terms will help you find my content. If you haven't done so already, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. You can support the time I spend here answering questions and helping others by using the links in the video description.